Welcome to the Mobile County Public Schools Athletic Show. My name is Brad Lowell, District Athletic Director for the Mobile County Public Schools. We're here with Citronelle High School today. Coach Barnett. Coach, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
I appreciate you being here, and we're kind of full speed ahead.
Absolutely.
In fall sports, football, and I know we just crossed the halfway point. So first, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you came from, and where you got to this point.
Well, I'm originally from Atmore, of course, and like I've been at Citronelle. This is year number 5 for me at Citronelle. I was the defensive coordinator for the first 3. Last year was the interim head coach, and they finally took the tag off of me, so I'm full-time head coach now, so an athletic director. I'm just glad to be here. I'll be honest with you. Citronelle is a great little town, and the community is a wonderful community. North Mobile County is it's a lot like home, honestly. When back in Atmore and Escambia County, there's not a whole lot of difference, and it's everybody knows everybody's business and so forth, which is kind of a good thing at times, bad thing at others. But I enjoy it. So far, we're enjoying it. So.
Well, I know you have a lot of community support up there. It's in the north part of Mobile County.
Yes.
And so, Citronelle has always been very involved with sports and strong sports showing up there. And I know this year kind of seems that you guys have started on the right track. Ended up with a 4-2 record right now.
That's correct. That's correct.
So tell us kind of how your season's going and what to expect.
We started out. We played Washington County, Chatham first, and then we played Leroy, 2 Washington County teams. And traditionally those two have been really good, and I think Leroy's going to still really a good football team. I would be surprised if they don't show up in Auburn, come December. But then we played Greene County, Mississippi, and we beat them as well. They're should be a natural rivalry. Leaksville's 20 miles away from us over there and across the Mississippi line. So they're a lot like us. They're same size school. They even have the Wildcat, the mascot's the Wildcats, and and so forth. And we play them every year in JV for the last several years since I've been there.
Right.
So it was just a thing that it worked out for us to get Greene County on the schedule, and we were able to get it done. We beat them 7-0. It was an offensive juggernaut that night, but anyway, we beat them, and then the next week we played LaFleur and we won that one. So we started out 4-0, and we thought we felt really good about things, and then we came to West Mobile and got to play Faith, and those guys are really, really good. Coach French has done a really good job with them there, and we didn't play our best ball that night, but that doesn't matter. We still lost, and then we played MGM the next week, and I thought we played really, really well. We played a lot better against MGM than we did against Faith, and still lost, but we learned a lot about ourselves at that point because of the how are we going to respond after a loss, and we came out to MGM and we played really, really well. Unfortunately, we just didn't score enough points, on the scoreboard.
Right.
But and then we played Satsuma last week and we beat Satsuma. So we're sitting 2-1 in the region right now, and we still got Jackson, Viger, and Wilcox to play in region. But I think we're sitting pretty good at this point to make the playoffs. Where we match up the next 2 weeks is going to be really important for all of us because we play Jackson and Viger back-to-back, and Faith plays Jackson and Viger back-to-back with us when we just swap each week. So the 4 of us sitting there together will determine our ranking of the area or region at that point. So it's going to be a big 2 weeks now, and let's see how it shakes out. We'll find out soon enough, I guess.
Well, and at least it sounds like that you put yourself in a position to at least control your own destiny.
That's right, and we try to tell the kids. Last week it was we have to win this one to get in. We got to win the Satsuma game. We got to beat LaFleur. You have to win those region games just to get in. And the kids have gotten they set a goal to begin with was number 1, make the playoffs, obviously, and then number 2 was host a playoff game. We haven't hosted one in Citronelle. I think the last time was 2004. So that was one of their goals, and it's sitting there for them. We just we've got to beat some really good teams in Jackson and Viger, but to host that. But if I feel like if we need to beat them anyway, whether that was the host or the game or not, we want to win those games. So like I said, at that point we'll see what happens down the road. But I think we have a shot at things. I like where we're sitting. We finally got healthy. We've got several of our starters back. We were there in the 2 or 3 week stretch in there. We had lost a starting corner. We had lost 2 starting offensive linemen. We had our starting safety was out for 2 weeks. These guys are finally starting to come back. We lost our starting quarterback, unfortunately. Again, we're kind of snake bit when it came down to it.
Yeah.
Well, that's 2 years in a row we've lost our starting quarterback to an ACL injury. But well, luckily for us, we've got some depth there with some guys that can play the position. They're not Michael by no means, but they're good enough that they can play the position, and they put us in a good position to win.
Right.
With that situation. So, but like I said, we're getting healthy again, and hopefully that will translate into playing better ball when it comes down to it.
That's kind of a unique situation because some people end up getting banged up as the year goes.
Right.
Whereas
that's right.
if you're getting healthier,
Yeah, we're
as the year
actually coming
goes,
back. That's right.
That's a
right.
good sign.
Absolutely.
And two, that is tough to have to build and put in young players right from the get-go.
Yes.
But I guess in the end, you can also look at it, that was great experience for those
It
kids
was.
and
Absolutely
develop
it was.
some depth on your team.
Yeah, it was, and like I said, hopefully we'll grow from that. I can't say that it will be a huge benefit, but I think it will.
Sure.
Like I said, we're still a long way away. We've already played 6 ball games, and we still got, or 7 ball games. We've still got a long way to go left. Hopefully, so. Like I said, these next 2 or 3 weeks is going to be really big for us and everybody in Region 1. So we'll see how it shakes out.
Well, I know you mentioned about playing Mary Montgomery,
Yes.
and I thought that was a really neat thing that both schools rekindled the rivalry.
Yeah, and that was a good thing too. And I know we probably didn't get enough press about it, but we had a community pep rally, and this is something we've done the last 2 years. Last year we played at home, so we went to MGM for a pep rally on Thursday night, and it was in the proceeds and so forth went to Aubrey's Army. And then this year we did our thing for Sid Hobbs, who is one of our local kids that's got brain cancer, and so it's been a great thing for the last 2 years for our communities to come together, and it couldn't have happened at a better time for us in Citronelle because we had some things that were going on in the community. We just needed to, hey, let's take a break, let's step back, and let's get everybody pulling in the same direction again and going back to and doing things the right way. And I think that was really big for all of us, was to get together with MGM and that night it was a great thing. I think we round up raising over $21,000 for Sid and his family for the week, and that's huge. That just says everything that you want to know about the two communities.
Yeah, I think it's a testament to both schools and the communities to really rally together.
Yes.
It's always been a rivalry game between
sure.
both schools, and I know for years and years and years it was always game number one.
Right.
But to see it come back, but also to see both communities get involved for
That's right.
Some type of community service, and
Sure.
and I mean that's just to me that's what it's about.
Right, absolutely. It's bigger than football.
That's right.
It's bigger than that. We have some unique opportunities there to help people that need our help, and for us to be able to do that in the last 2 years has been really, it's just like I said, it's a testament for the two communities to get together like we have.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you coming in this morning and being here, and I know you're much anxious for the rest of the football season to see how it plays out.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are.
So good luck to you.
Well, I appreciate y'all having us on, and thank you for bringing us in and the support y'all give us.
I appreciate it. All right, we'll be back after the break.
It's a fact. Bullying happens. Bullying can lead to serious physical and emotional pain. But there are some things you can do to prevent or stop it. Stand up for the person who's being bullied. Let the bully know that it's not cool to pick on others. Take action by reporting the bully to a teacher or principal. In the end, when you help someone who's being bullied, you are also helping yourself.
I believe my child's school is probably one of the best ones I could have picked in Mobile. She's in the PACE program. The teachers are phenomenal. The principal, couldn't ask for a better principal. The research that I had done myself, I believe the quality of education in Mobile County Public School System is excellent. For me and my child, I'm going to stick with the public school system. I think it's the way to go.
All right, welcome back to our show. We're here with Coach Pippin. Coach, thanks for being on.
No problem. Thank you for having us.
Well, Coach, something, you and I were talking about earlier, and I would like to kind of share with the audience a little bit that we really hadn't discussed on the show, which is bowling. And you are the bowling coach at Citronelle, correct?
That's correct.
So tell us a little bit about you in general, kind of where you started, how you ended up in your career at this point, but also how you dove into bowling.
All right, so I started 15 years ago at Mary Montgomery. The last 14 years I've served at Citronelle. I've coached soccer, basketball, football, a little bit of everything throughout. Yeah, throughout. So we've had success in some of those sports. But anyways, a year ago, we decided we were going to have a bowling program at Citronelle. So I threw my name in the hat. Coach Barnett assigned that sport to me, and we jumped into it last year. So we're excited about it.
So bowling's one of our newer sports. It is a boys and girls sport in our county. Kind of tell us a little bit about, did you have a lot of kids that were interested in it? Is it something that you had to go find some kids to kind of start with, or kind of how did it shape up for you?
Well, last year, and I'll just be very honest, last year my goal was let's find some good kids and let's start a team with that. Once I did that, we had 8 girls and 8 guys last year for our team. And once word got out that we had a bowling team, I had 50 that wanted to be on the bowling team. So this year we actually have to go through the full tryout process because word has gotten out that the kids enjoyed it. It was a fun sport, and it's good to have more opportunities, So this year we're having tryouts. Matter of fact, that's next week coming up. So I think we have 35, 40 kids that want to try out for bowling this year.
That's awesome. It is a sanctioned sport by the Alabama High School Athletic Association. Kind of unique because our schools don't have bowling alleys on campus.
That's right.
So kind of tell us how do you guys practice? What do you do?
Well, the structure of what we did last year was our home bowling alley is Camellia Bowling Lanes from Citronelle. So last year we had 2 practices a week until actual game started. And then when game started, we still tried to keep 2 practices a week at Camellia and then maybe 1 game a week or 1 match a week.
So they just something that you just have the kids meet after school, or are y'all able to do it during a athletic block? Or?
No, we met after school, usually about 4 o'clock at Camellia.
Yeah, and then they save you a couple lanes to be able to practice on.
That's right, and they treat us very well. They have a kind of a deal with Mobile County Public Schools where the students basically become like bowling club members. So they can show up, and I think it's like $2 a match for shoes, something along those lines. So it's very affordable. We raise money before season, and that covers all that. So it's a good program.
Similar what golf does, that they get into a place and they can kind of become a member, and they can get different rates on practices and playing there.
That's right.
As long as they're playing with the school.
My kids always ask me, Coach, why don't you bowl with us? Because I don't get those rates. It's a little too expensive for me to bowl 2 or 3 times a week, but the kids could go all the time. They don't even actually, if they wanted to go on a Saturday night, they're now members of Camellia Bowling Lane, so they get those same prices anytime.
Oh, that's that's a good deal for them.
That's right.
So when you have bowling matches, how many teams are usually involved?
Well, you can do a 2-team match, or you can do what's called a tri-match. So right now, when we schedule our region matches, it's us versus one other opponent. Okay. I personally like tri-matches, so you can bowl 1 match and have 2 opponents bowling right beside you at the same time. So I'm in the process now of scheduling some of my matches to tri-matches because I favor that.
Now, you score it based on individuals and team, right?
That's correct. You have a 6-man match, so it's our 6 versus their 6, just traditional bowling. And then they have what's called a Baker match. So it's still a team score, but it's basically one person bowls the first frame, second person bowls, and you have a individual score after that. So it's the traditional match with 3 Baker matches, and it's the total at the end.
Okay. And so do they break it down in regions or areas for y'all?
It's in regions.
It's in regions. Mm-hmm. So when they're basically, when you play your matches throughout the season, all right, then you end up having a tournament at the end to see who qualifies.
Well, the way we do it in ours is top 2 goes, and then they actually go to the tournament after that. So throughout our season tournament, the top 2 will advance.
The top 2 will advance.
That's correct.
All right, and if I'm not mistaken, the regional tournament's held in Mobile, correct?
That's correct.
So, you know, what is the process? So if you win, if you become the top 2 in your region, and then you make it to the regionals,
Right.
after regionals is what?
I could be wrong on this because we never made it last year, but I think after that it's straight to the state
Straight
tournament.
to the state tournament. And there's some pretty good bowlers out there. Huh?
Absolutely, there is. Absolutely. MGM right down the road has a really, really good team. Baker as well.
Yeah.
So they've actually made the state tournament, you know, I think the last 2 or 3 years combined. So we get to bowl high caliber teams like that, you know, so it's exciting for us.
Now, do boys and girls bowl together, or is there actually a boys division and girls division?
There's a boys division and a girls division. You know, we usually try to schedule it on the same day. So we'll be on a lane with the boys team beside them, and then the girls team will be a lane over with the girls team beside them. So we're there the same days, but it's boys versus boys and then girls versus girls.
So, you know, these student athletes have to basically abide by the same rules.
That's correct.
As the other sports, academically and eligibility wise.
That's correct.
And so, do you, you know, most of the kids, do you find a lot of these kids, have they bowled before, or a lot of them just learning how to bowl?
At Citronelle, we're doing a lot of learning how to bowl.
Yeah.
I think, you know, like I said, with the MGM and Baker, you got a lot of kids that in years past were probably being left behind from a sports perspective. But now it's giving them an opportunity to do things that they grew up doing. And I think that's why you see them being so good, is those kids have grown up bowling right their neighborhood alley, you know. We don't have a neighborhood alley in Citronelle, so we got a little bit of a learning curve, but we're doing well.
Do you find that is most of your kids that like to bowl, do you find that to be mostly like your older kids, juniors or seniors, or are you seeing a lot of younger kids get involved?
I think it's across the board.
Yeah.
I have just as many younger kids that want to get into it as I do older.
What do you try to, like, for you and your program, how did you, like, your numbers of how many kids do you usually keep to be on the team?
Well, you can bowl, you know, in a traditional match, you can bowl 6 people. So if you want to keep it minimum, all you need is 6 members of the team. I went with 9 last year on both, 8 towards the end of the season because we had 1 drop off, but we had 9 to start with because you can sub just like you can in any other sport. So I wanted to make it bigger with some older kids and some younger kids, so we'd have returners for this year coming up, you know.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you coming on and talking to us about bowling, and it's catching on
That's
a
right.
lot, and that, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's scholarships to be
Absolutely.
made for bowling, and a lot of schools are looking for those.
Absolutely, and that's kind of how I pitched it to Coach Barnett, and I'm glad you brought that up, was, you know, our philosophy, and I think most schools' philosophy is anything that gives our kids opportunities to go to college, then we need to do that. We need to promote that. So if one kid gets a scholarship, it's worth it.
That's
you
right.
know.
Well, thanks for being on, and wish you luck this year.
Appreciate you.
All right, we'll be back after the break.
The Environmental Studies Center is a natural sciences education facility designed to provide unique learning experiences. In addition, wildlife rehabilitation plays a vital role each day at the center. Featuring more than 500 acres of rich woodlands, the center affords teachers, students, and the general public an opportunity to experience firsthand the natural environment. Environmental Studies Center. It starts with us in the Mobile County Public Schools.
Hello, I'm Renee Phillips, your host of Homeroom. Will you join us as we talk with the students, teachers, and staff about all of the great things happening in our schools?
That's right, Renee. Not only are we here to keep you informed about the great things happening in our schools, but to also keep you updated on safety issues.
Our show, Safe Schools, looks at ways to keep your child and our students safe.
Not only are we looking at ways to keep your child and our students safe, but to keep you informed on how to connect with us.
Manténgase informado aquí en Conexión a Padres.
And we also score big from pre-K to high school with MCPSS Athletics.
And then Inside Education puts it all together for you, showing you the ins and outs about news and events taking place across the Mobile County Public School District. We do this to keep you informed.
All right, welcome back to our show. We're here with Coach Redding. Coach, thanks for being on.
Thanks for having us.
I know this year you've taken on a different hat with cross country this fall. So first, tell us a little bit about you, kind of where you started, and then how you ended up this point in your career at Citronelle.
Well, I graduated from Citronelle back in 2002. I've grown up there, went to college on a baseball scholarship. Coming back, I coached baseball for 7 years, and this year got the opportunity to coach cross country after I resigned from baseball. But I'm excited about it. It's a new adventure for me.
Right. Well, tell us a little bit about taking over cross country. You know, you come in, it's been really hot. So
Yes.
kind of what have you done with your kids, to kind of get them ready for the season?
Well, we were fortunate enough last year that Coach Bennett, he had a qualifier, so he left us with good runners. But we come into our practices, you can only run so much. So we run about 3 times a week. We do different things each day, try to get our endurance up because it's a long run. But we practice 3 days a week, and we have plenty of water, plenty of hydration coming in, so we don't have anybody pass out on us.
Right.
But I'm like I said, we got some young runners, but they're pretty excited about doing it.
Well, I know you mentioned about it is a long run, and it's a tough run because it's just not running around a track.
Right.
Running cross country, you're actually running through trails, correct?
Yes. A lot of them, we've ran 2 so far, and we ran one that's by the old Berkeley that USA has now, and it's just tall grass, and they bush hog trails through the grass and everything else. Like I said, it's the first time I've ever had to deal with it, but it's unique. I'll say that.
It is, because between hills and like you said, different terrains, it can make it pretty challenging. Especially because you have to practice those things.
Absolutely, we run hills all the time. We don't have a grass track that we can run on, but we run around our town, and a lot of steep inclines, a lot of curves, a lot of uneven ground, which is what cross country mainly is.
And I know we're talking about the heat, and you have to run in those conditions, so your body has to be used and be acclimated to running in the heat, because that's when they're going to run.
Absolutely, yeah. It's nothing to run in 90+ heat right now, and but like I said, we try to make sure I ride beside them to make sure that nobody's overdoing it.
And too, they're going to get a kind of a break, hopefully, starting this week after today with a little of the weather.
I hope so. And that some of them say they don't like running in the cold weather.
Oh,
they
really?
ran a couple times in the cold weather last year. They said it hurts their lungs, which I can agree with that. But I'd rather run in the cold than it would be in the hot.
Yeah, and I can see that too, because when you've all your conditioning have been in 90+ degree weather, and then all of a sudden you go run in 60 or 50 degree weather, then it is a different atmosphere, body acclimation, and if you haven't been practicing in that, I can see where that would be a struggle.
Oh yeah, and just warming up, your muscles tight and cold in cold weather, but it doesn't take you long to warm up in hot weather. It takes you a long time to warm up in colder weather.
I know we were talking to Coach Pippin earlier, and just like bowling, cross country is a boys and girls sport, and they also compete individually and as a team, correct?
We do get scored as a team, but they mainly it's boys and girls separated. We've ran in, like I said, we're really young this year. We only have one senior girl, and then the rest of them are freshmen and sophomores. As a matter of fact, I got one 8th grade girl that runs with us. But I've ran in one varsity competition, and the rest of them have been JV, 3K and a 5K. So those get separated by times, and then we get a team score.
I know you're taking on soccer this year, and I'm not really going to get into soccer, except for the fact that, do you have some of your soccer players conditioned in the
matter of fact,
cross-country?
all the players that I have right now that are on the cross country team are using that as a conditioning. They actually did that voluntarily. I didn't even ask them to do it. So they know the importance of running and how important it is in soccer.
Yeah, I thought that was probably could be a quality fall sport to get them ready for spring sport.
Yeah, if they're not playing club soccer, they're running on the cross country. We got 15 people, and it's split between the two, so they're all soccer players.
That's good. How many do you carry total for your cross country team?
We have 15. They're
boys and girls?
No, 15 total. So we have 7 girls and 8 boys.
Okay. How many can you enter in?
It depends on the tournament or the match that we're running in. Some will let you run as many as you want, and then some, it even tell you if you can't make the 3-1, then don't worry about entering them into the varsity, which is understandable if you don't want to run a 30-minute 5K.
Right. Well, whenever you go to these matches or these meets, how many teams do you usually compete against? Do they have?
The 2 that we've entered in so far, which is the Challenge of Champions and then the USA one, there's colleges, teams from Atlanta, teams from Mississippi. I mean, there's 30, 40 teams there.
So it's more or less, you just don't show up and run and go home. It's an all day.
It's a long time, and depending on what your event is, if it's the last one, you're going to be there for a while.
So when they get there, do they take, you have to submit what your kids can run,
right?
And then do they break divisions up that way, or?
Well, we have if you got a JV's girls, then they run first usually, and then the JV boys run after that. Varsity girls, varsity boys, and then they'll have usually colleges run after us. So.
Well, Coach, I appreciate you being here, and good luck this year with your cross country team and your soccer team this year. I know cross country fall sports is in full swing, and then I know you'll turn a corner after Christmas and be right there in soccer.
I appreciate it.
Well, that'll conclude our show today, and we'll be back next week.